You ready to get this going?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's talk DFS picks in the 10K and above range. Sorry, 9K and above range. We're going to give you three tournament plays, a cash play, and a fade. Um, I'll start here. Scotty Sheffler starts it up top at 11.4. Pretty, significant boost in price over the next man down, which is Louis Oosthuizen, who has withdrawn. Louis Oosthuizen, as of Monday afternoon, has withdrawn. So,
Thank you for
Scotty,
letting me know that.
yes, you're welcome. Scotty Scheffler, pretty high priced. We haven't seen him since before the U.S. Open because he did test positive for COVID, but he's just been playing outstanding. And he's played here twice, a couple of good finishes here. One thing to think about too that I was thinking through is like, and I think you see it with some of the first time winners like Gribble, Cam Champ. We've seen in the past that Corn Ferry graduates, which this is a weird year, but Corn Ferry graduates can come up and play really well here. This is not much different than a really good Corn Ferry field. So it goes back to, I don't think you need to be afraid to play, somebody that came off a Corn Ferry tour or is having success. We're going to talk about Will Zalatoris, I'm sure, Davis Reilly, those kind of players, and there's others in the field. So Scotty Scheffler was the best Corn Ferry player tour when he came out, and he came out and played well here. So he's not a guy that it's very tough for me to justify paying up for that in this field. I may do it as of right now. It's not a guy I'm leaning on playing. I am going to go down to Sung J M though. I really like Sung J here, runner up, lost in the playoff here, I believe last year to Sebastian Munoz. Sung J comes in at 10.5. Best putting surface is by far Bermuda, which I'm happy to see that he is putting well on Bermuda and has. Coming off a T22 at the U.S. Open, a T11 at the Tour Championship, where he had a kind of a rough run there. Ninth place finish at the Wyndham, but before that, his restart was not fantastic. But I like where Sung Jae is at. He checks some boxes in terms of scoring on par fives, and he's just pretty good at almost everything. We know Sung Jae's a good ball striker, so I like the 10.5 price tag. I think a lot of people are going to pay up for Scheffler, and then I think a lot of people are probably going to go ahead and go on Will Zalatoris again. Which Zalatoris came up and had a great Sunday, and this is the thing about him. He said it, at the end of the day on Sunday, he said, my back was against the wall. That may be why I played better on Sunday, because he was not doing great. And I don't know where he finished in terms of DraftKings points scored last week. Obviously, he finished 8th in the tournament or something. Was he 8th? Was he 8th? Was that what it was?
He was eighth. Yeah.
Yes. He finished 8th in the tournament. It would not shock me if he finished a little worse than that in DraftKings scoring. So in terms of was it worth playing him or not, I don't know. I think maybe it was a wash. I don't
Are
know.
you trying to make a case for why I shouldn't have made that call last week?
Yes. I'm trying to say why I was correct. But at the end of the day, I actually think we were both it just was very neutral. You had to pay up for him. He's a top price guy. Had he finished if he's top 5 in DK scoring, it was probably worth it. But I doubt he was. I just don't.
He was not actually.
What was he? Do you
If
know?
I'm looking at this right, he was 39th,
In DK scoring?
which doesn't seem like I'm looking at this right. But I'm
That doesn't
looking at
seem
last 4 rounds on Fantasy National.
right. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I hate it less if you want to play him this week because you get a little price break. The thing that I love the most is none of the stats. It's none of the recent finish. It's just that he is recognizing that he has a chance to stay his ass off the Corn Ferry Tour and keep staying on the PGA Tour if
He's
keeps
got a
doing
lot of
this.
motivation this week.
He's got a lot of motivation. That's what it boils down to. So it's like, how much do you believe it? Now, he may have some fatigue. He's played a lot of golf. He's a young kid, so I'm not saying that that's not there, but it's got to be mentally and physically somewhat draining to keep doing what he's doing. So I don't know. I guess it just depends on your own gut feel as a player when you're making your selection. I don't know. For me, I don't know that I'll pull the trigger. I'm going to go Sung Jae. I'm going to go with Sam Burns, who I think – I'm sorry, Sam Burns is my cash play. So I think Sam Burns and cash is a lock. Ball striking's there. Form is there. History's there. Bermuda's there. Great Bermuda player. Sam Burns and cash all day long. I think I might pivot to Doc Redman in tournaments. I think he'll be a little lower owned than Sam. I love the ball striking. He's pretty neutral on Bermuda. He's got top win upside, honestly. I mean, would it shock you if come Monday night next week, we're talking about Doc Redman being a first-time winner on the PGA Tour at this event?
Not at all.
It would not. And then my third tournament play is going to be, and this is where I think I'll have a little bit of leverage, is going to be Dylan Fratelli. I don't. So Fratelli is like middle of the road in terms of Bermuda. He's okay, but the form has been pretty solid since the restart. Here's his performance since the restart. First event back he played was the Workday. Charles Schwab, miscut. Finished 8th at the Heritage. Then he went miscut. But then he went 22nd, 18, 33rd at the PGA, miscut at the Northern Trust, 33rd at Olympia Fields at the BMW. He just kind of does everything pretty solid. And played the Sanderson Farms twice, finished T6 last year. And I think a lot of people are going to see that name and go, why am I paying $9,300 for Dylan Fratelli? And I just think he's going to go fairly low owned unless a lot of other people are talking him up too. So I think Fratelli, Burns, and M are my tournament plays. Fratelli, Doc, and M are my tournament plays. Burns is my cash. My fade is going to be Adam Long. We saw Adam in the final group, had a chance to win the thing. Thank God he didn't. That would have really ticked me off. Adam, not a very long hitter. In fact, also, I don't know how much you've watched Adam Long. He seems slow to me. Was he slow to you? Or maybe it's because I was like sweating the whole thing and I was pacing. I'm like, hit the ball, Adam.
I think he's always been a little bit slow, to be honest.
Yeah, nice guy. We met him I think it was Sea Island. We met, nice guy, but dang, like let's pick up the pace a little bit, Adam. I don't know that for the price and for maybe a little recency bias coming off of final group there. He did have a good U.S. Open. I don't know. I don't love the Adam Long. I don't love the Adam Long price. I don't love the Adam Long upside. I don't see him as much as a scorer. He's pretty benign, actually, like bottom half in like greens and regulation and strokes gained on par fives and driving distance. He really only checks a box like irons, approach play. He's pretty good there. He's not a standout in Bermuda. So I just think I'm going to pass on Adam Long.
Wow. Okay. Well, this is going to be very short for me in this range because, as we mentioned all the time, we do not talk about our picks, but they are very, very similar this week. M was my top play over 10K. So for all the reasons that you said, I had Sam Burns as a GPP play, but I could see playing him in cash as well.
I like him either way. I think he's going to be I think he may be top 3 most popular players. So if you want to eat that chalk, eat it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But so I do like Sam Burns. I was not really on him last week. I thought that and he didn't really. I wouldn't say he returned back. Where was he, like T21 last week? T28. So not really that great last week, but
he had a really bad third round. Really bad third round.
I like him more this week. So Sam Burns for sure. And then Fratelli was my other GPP play. So I was kind of hoping I would sneak that one in on you, but obviously I did not. My cash play is Chez Reavie. I mean, I think at 9,100, you're getting a guy who's a proven tour player. I know doesn't have the distance that these other guys have, but he has the profile of what typically does play well on this course. He has that profile, hits fairways, hits greens. I think Chez Reavie is, and you look at his, he didn't play well at the U.S. Open, but that's not really a course for him. I wouldn't expect him to, but at the Safeway, he was T3. So I think as far as, he's concerned.
I think you'll get some low ownership on that. That's a decent pivot play.
So I like him. And then my fade's going to be the defending champion, Sebastian Munoz, who we've seen play extremely well lately. He's a fade for me. At 9,800, I just don't think we're going to get the value that you need out of him. You look at the stats. I mean, he's definitely got the distance here.
I kind of like Munoz.
You what?
I kind of like him. I mean,
I'm just not. He's 86 in the field in approach, 77th in ball striking. He's 98th in par 5 scoring, which I mentioned is something that I'm big on this week. So I know he's played well. And I think the reason that I'm going to look at fading him is I wonder where if because we've seen him play so well leading up to this tournament, he made the Tour Championship, all that kind of stuff. I believe made the cut at the U.S. Open, but didn't really do much on the weekend, but nobody did. I wonder where his ownership's going to be. And if I see a little bit higher ownership on him than I'd like, then I'm going to fade him. So he will – it's sort of like a wishy-washy fade. But yeah, he's my fade this week in this category. But everything else, we're pretty much in agreement there.
Okay. All right. Hey, shout out Devin Davis, watching live on YouTube, just super chatted us $10. Devin must be a millionaire. I think Devin's actually a millionaire because no one has ever chatted us $10.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's too much money we are a much cheaper product than $10.
He must have hit he hit the maybe hit the
Swafford bet.
The Swafford bet.
Yeah.
Hopefully he did.
All right. Why don't you hit us? I love the 8K range. But why don't you?
We only got 11 guys here, so it is a little bit harder to choose if you're doing what we do and kind of drilling it down. But David, who do you think I'm going to start with in the 8K range at 80? Well, I'm not even going to give you the price.
Okay. You are going to start with Bud Cowley.
Bud Cowley at 8,700. Wish it was a little bit cheaper than that, but look, the stats check out. He's second around the green. Checks the box off the tee. He's top 40 in approach. He's 12th in proximity. Checks the box in par 5 scoring. I like some Bud Colley this week. We've seen him play, pretty well this year. Looking at, he was top 15 at the Safeway Open. Let me pull the course history here. No really course history here, but I don't care about that. I like Bud Colley. I'm a big fan of Bud Colley, so I'm going to play him this week at 8,700. I think he's going to have.
He's a Bermuda guy for sure. He thrives
and I think he's going to have low
Bermuda.
ownership. He always does. So I will play him. Another guy that I like this week, down kind of near the bottom at 8,100, finished T28 here last year, which is Cam Davis.
Oh, give me lather me up in Cam Davis this week. Just put it all on me.
This is a
turn on some John Legend. I will just soak up in the Cam Davis. You knew I was going to love Cam Davis this week. Give me 8,100 Cam Davis. I mean, okay, play the name game with me here, Pat. We don't do this often. Play the name game. Give me Cam Davis, or you pick another name higher than Cam Davis, and I will tell you if I want Cam Davis or that other name.
Okay, Cam Davis, or do you want me to stay in the 8K range, or even I can
go. The sky's the limit.
Okay, Cam Davis or Corey Connors.
Cam Davis.
Cam Davis or your boy Luke List.
Cam Davis.
Cam Davis or Will Zalatoris.
Cam Davis.
Cam Davis or Scotty Sheffler. I'd go Sheffler there.
I'm answering this just head to head, not anything to do with DraftKings, just head to head. I think the only two people head to head I like better than Cam Davis out of the entire field. Maybe three people would be Sheffler, M, and Sam Burns. That's it. Mm-hmm. Love Cam Davis.
There's a lot of reasons to love him. He's been playing extremely well lately, and he checks literally all the boxes that you want this week. He's 14th in the field off the tee, checks the box in approach, ball striking. He's 6th in par 5 scoring. I mean, literally anything you really want from a player this week, Cam Davis is that guy. So I think he is a fantastic play. I like him in GPPs.
I mean, honestly, so our buddy, on the YouTubes, he says this show was brought to you by Cam Davis. You know what? We'll go ahead and do that. Actually, thank you guys for watching, listening. This show is brought to you by Cam Davis. You need to make sure you follow at Cam Davis Golf and tell him that the Tour Junkies sent you, And thanks for tell him, send him a tweet and tell him thanks for sponsoring the Tour Junkies podcast. It's
That's
at
a good
Cam
idea.
Davis Golf on Twitter, or on Instagram. He's Cam_Davis 77, which is a terrible. We need to work on his handle situation, but Cam_Davis 77 on Instagram. But either way, reach out to Cam and tell him thanks for sponsoring the Tour Junkies podcast.
Yeah. So for cash, I'd probably go Cam Davis too. I mean, I think I like Bud Cauley in cash, but I think for Cam Davis is just across the board. I just love him in this range. My fade's going to be Siwoo. I think he's going to check some boxes for you, and I'm doing this for you, the listener, because I never get Siwoo right. So I'm going to fade him this week, and you probably should play him, and you might win money, and I'll lose money, but it'd be my fault. But Bermuda grass is by far his worst surface to putt on. T61 here last year, missed the cut in 2016. I don't like it. I think I don't think he's gonna have a ton of ownership because Siwoo really never does. But I just don't even want to be tempted to play him, and so I'm gonna plant my flag that I will not play Siwoo this week. But he's the fade for me.
Okay, well, I guess I'll start at the controversial spot, and that is my tournament play. One of my tournament plays in this range would be Mr. Siwoo Kim. Love the win equity that I get with Siwoo here. Now, he does suck on Bermuda when you look at the stats. However, he won at the Players Championship on Bermuda. He should have won the Wyndham back in August, and I'm pretty sure the Wyndham is Bermuda. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Wait, I thought the Wyndham was bent.
It may be bent. Let me look real quick.
Because don't they play? Isn't that at Sedgefield?
Nope, they're Bermuda.
Okay.
It is at Sedgefield. Should have won there. But
it's different. It's a different Bermuda. They get Sedgefield, and they get the Players Championship greens much quicker than they typically have these greens.
Maybe quicker, but I mean they're still grainy Bermuda. I mean, anyway, that's not a big deal. That's not a big reason why I'm playing him. I'm playing him because I think at 8-4 and probably, like you said, low owned, terrible history here at the Sanderson, but distance, par 5 scoring, checks the box. He's third in this field over the last 24 rounds in opportunities gained. Proprietary stat on Fantasy National. If you don't know what opportunities gained is, it's basically how many times in regulation or under regulation a player hits it within 15 feet of the hole, being either on the green or on the fringe. So that basically means they're giving themselves eagle and birdie opportunities. And Siwoo is third in this field over the last 24 rounds and doing that, 10th in the field in strokes gained approach. He's a bomber. He's aggressive. We've seen that work the last 2 years. And I love that I could get Siwoo run away with this version. Now, he is likely to also be Siwoo trunk slam Friday or basically be out of it by Thursday. That is very possible, but that is the kind of upside I want here in tournaments. I don't feel as good about him in cash. I really don't. I would rather have Cam Davis in cash. I would rather have as a technical cash play because I love Cam Davis so much and I want him in tournaments and I want him in cash. But I put Emiliano Grillo as my cash play. I also like Grillo here. I think because of his poor putting, and I do think this is a tournament that tends to see good putting pay off a little more. Putting is more of a prerequisite. I think his win equity here is not as great, but I think making the cut and having a high floor is definitely in Emiliano Grillo's sweet spot here. He's been playing well, checks all the ball striking boxes. So I think I'd rather have him in cash. But give me Siwoo and give me Cam Davis in tournaments, and the win equity out of those two guys, I will enjoy a lot. My fade is a guy who's played pretty freaking good here the last 2 attempts, and that is Carlos Ortiz. Carlos Ortiz, people are going to see, oh my God, T4 and a T3. Wow, that's amazing. Well, he sucks right now statistically. Bottom of the barrel in strokes gained approach, in greens and regulation, opportunities gained. Look at his recent form. It's all over the place. Sure, he finished 25th at the BMW. That was impressive. He also was like, had one of his best weeks by miles around the green and putting. Doesn't happen very often. It was also not on Bermuda surfaces. It was just an outlier week for him. The ball striking has been pretty putrid for Carlos Ortiz really since the restart. Before the restart, it wasn't that bad. He was actually playing really well. COVID kind of jumped up and got him, and that sucks for him. But he's not good in literally any of the key categories except maybe. All right, 7K. Oh, I was going to say 8K. I like a lot of players there. I really do. I think that's a really sweet spot. I think Zhang, who played really well last week. Patrick Rogers is another one who hits it a long way, putts really well, could play well here. And I think Garcia even is a sneaky tournament play. So I love the 8K range. I want to see how ownership projections, kind of work out by Wednesday. I don't know if like building a lineup in the 8K range is going to be a popular thing to do or not. If it is, then obviously you need to pivot. But I think you could make a whole roster and just live in the 8K range. Maybe grab a 9K guy and then camp out. But let's talk 7K. Yeah, Pat's gated community internet is down. So, he makes fun of me for living in the country and like living on land and like I have nothing, but I have freaking reliable internet, and Pat has absolutely nothing. So, here I am all by myself. I'm doing a show by myself. So let's roll 7K range. Okay. I was on him last week and he played well. I really think Charlie Hoffman is good in these little garbage, just crappy fields. I think Charlie Hoffman gives you some win equity. Doesn't have a lot of wins for a guy who's been on the PGA Tour so much, but dang, like he's been in it and he's a grinder and he checks a lot of boxes actually. Isn't terrible on Bermuda. It's not his worst surface, not his best surface. He's played here twice, got a T23 and a T35. I think Charlie is quite an interesting play. Now, your potentially more popular plays in this range are going to be Denny McCarthy. I think he's okay. I like Sepp Straka okay. But I think Taylor Gooch is going to be good. I like Taylor Gooch. I always like Taylor Gooch. You guys know that. I do think, however, there's one name in here that is a decent pivot, and it's Nick Taylor at $7,400. The Canadian Nick Taylor doesn't hit it a long way, doesn't overpower a course, but he's got a great record here. He got his first victory here years ago, and he's just a reliable player. And at 7.4, he gives you, I think, a pretty good chance of getting a guy through a cut. Is what I think you're going to get. There's a lot of good names here in the 7K. I mean, I don't think anything's wrong with Hudson Swafford right now. Coming off of what he's done, he's striking the ball well. I don't think there's anything wrong with Cam Tringali, but I'm trying to give you some names that have some ownership leverage. The next name I'm going to give you, so I got Hoffman, I got Nick Taylor, and then I'm going to go Christopher Ventura. Long hitter, pretty good putter in a limited sample size, putts pretty well on Bermuda. A lot of win equity for that kid too. Young Oklahoma State product can just, he almost could have won the Safeway. Irons weren't great at the Safeway, finished 7th, but it is what it is. I think Ventura is due, and it wouldn't shock me to see a kid like him, who, if you think about like almost like a Korn Ferry Tour player, right, coming off of this Korn Ferry Tour, could come up and win this thing. But he's a good player. He's a legitimate player, and I think he's going to be around for a minute. My cash play in the 7K is Hoffman. I feel very comfortable with Charlie Hoffman in cash, more comfortable than I even would with a Denny McCarthy or any of those guys. So I like Hoffman. My fade is going to be the old putrid veteran. The tequila's getting here. Brant Snedeker. This should be a place that Snedeker does great. Bermuda through and through. Putting required, all that. Played it for the first time last year. Didn't do bad. T45. But, I mean, he just sucks right now. He absolutely sucks right now. Historically, over his career, Bermuda's not his surface. POA is his surface. In fact, he gains quite a bit of strokes on POA and bent per round over his career, but basically zero on Bermuda. We have not seen Snedeker have a top 25 finish since February at the WGC Mexico, and that was a limited field event. Like, he's been terrible. So I don't know if some people are going to see the name value at 7,100 and think, oh, I got to play Brant Snedeker, because he's Brant Snedeker and it's a short game and all that. No, like, just he sucks right now. Don't play Brant Snedeker. All right, this is just in. Pat has sent his picks in. All right, here we go. I'll literally read it to you. His tournament plays are Hadley. Laugh all you want. He's showing signs of life and playing okay. He checks boxes. Okay, that's what we do here. People check boxes. Let me look at Chesson Hadley. I got to be honest. When I first saw the pricing come out, I saw Chesson Hadley's name at 7,800, like the third, fourth highest price guy. I'm like, why is Chesson Hadley 7,800? I guess runner-up finish here a couple years ago, trending okay, I guess. I don't know. I don't really see it. I would probably disagree with Pat here for old Chesson. He does love him some Bermuda. He does like that. But 7,800 for Hadley seems a little steep, Pat. I think you're wrong there. Then he says Sepp Straka. I got nothing wrong with Sepp. I think Sepp's a good player, can definitely take advantage of his length, score on these par fives, which you need to do. If he's low owned, great. He has missed the cut here both years, but I think he's improved year after year. He's a much better player right now than he's probably ever been entering the Sanderson Farms. So I'll kind of throw out the course history. Don't mind Sepp there. And another name that he's mentioned that I also don't mind. I mean, the form is definitely there, and that's Cameron Percy. All the way down at $7,200, you have a convergence of really good form and pretty good course history, like really good course history. He doesn't miss a lot of cuts here at the Sanderson, and he's got some high finishes. T11 last year, T15 a few years back. Cam Percy is probably playing pretty confident right now. He's not a long hitter, hits it like barely out of his shadow. Maybe that's why Pat likes him. Terrible putter, terrible on Bermuda, but 8th at Corrales, 23rd at the Safeway. He knows he's got to make his hay in this fall season. He's Cameron Percy. He's looking in the mirror every week and going, I'm Cameron Percy, mate. He's Australian. I'm Cameron Percy. I can't wait and get my FedEx Cup points till Bay Hill and Sawgrass and all that. I can't do that, mate. I'll be playing against the good players. I got to come here and pick on the losers, So he's doing that. And so here he is. And he's thinking to himself, here's another weak field event I got to take advantage of. So it's like the Will Zalatoris motivation, maybe. All right, who else did he say? Okay, Cash, Stuart Sink. Dude, here's the quote. Dude has made 13 of 16 cuts this year, coming off a win. And and on Sunday when he had to hit a 330-yard drive recently. Jeez. Yes, that is true. Sink did hit a shockingly long ball on 18 to snatch from my clutches the 100-1 Harry Higgs bet at the Safeway. So F you, Stuart Sink. I will not be cheering for you. And he's going to fade Rafa Cabrera Bello, and he gives 0 reasons. So there you go. That's Pat's 7K breakdown. 6K. A lot of great names in the 6K here. You could definitely make a case for studs and duds if you want to go up and play Scotty Sheffler, if you want to grab Sung Jae, Willie Z. You can do that. I think I prefer to land on maybe pick 2 names in the 6K and just stick with it. I don't want to have a ton of exposure to some of these guys, or I don't want to be all over the place with some of them. I think there are some that stand above the rest here. I had a feeling about him last week, and he played pretty well, all things considered. Let me find him. Damn, where is he? I didn't think he was that cheap. Hang on. Here he is. Okay, Patton Kizzire finished 41st at the Corrales. Okay, not great. Patton's a great putter. Ball striking has been okay in the last 24 rounds. Actually, checks about top 15 in strokes gained par 5. Likes Bermuda a lot. Has finished T4 and T10 here at this event in the past. I think Kizzire is going to give you a little bit of an ownership leverage down here, if maybe in some of the lesser chalky names that may come up down here. Adam Shank is going to be the most popular player down here by far, and probably for good reason. I think he's got a very high floor. And, honestly, at 6.7, I don't mind chalk Shank. Like if you want to play chalk Shank, it depends on how chalky, but like right now, Fantasy National hasn't projected it around 10%. I don't think that's crazy. If he's like 15, 20, that may be a little ridiculous, but I don't really mind the chalk Shank play. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad play at all. And he is playing very well. He's got a great record here. He checks a lot of boxes. I think it's a decent play. Davis Reilly, I like him. 6.7K. I played with a Korn Ferry Tour player named Matt Atkins at my home course. It's also Matt's home course, Champions Retreat, just 2 weeks ago. And it was right after the U.S. Open, so a week ago. And I was asking him about Willie Zalatoris. And he said, you know what, man? Honestly, Will's a good player. He's a great player. But in my opinion, Davis Reilly is the best player on the Korn Ferry Tour right now, and it's not close. It's like, really? He said, yep. 2 wins. Will's got 1. Yes, Will's been on a great run with all these top 20s. But he said Davis Reilly is as good as anybody on the Korn Ferry Tour right now. Book it. Then I talked to another guy on the Korn Ferry Tour. I won't say his name because he's kind of close to both these guys. I said, who's better, Will Zalatoris or Davis Reilly long term? He said, Davis Reilly. It's very interesting because you have Will Zalatoris at $10,200. I just gave you 2 peers that watch these guys play week in and week out that say Davis Reilly is better at 6.7. I mean, I get the hot form with Will Zalatoris. I get it. It ain't like Davis Riley's not in hot form. He just didn't play well at the U.S. Open. He didn't have the PGA Tour finishes that Will Zalatoris does. But he's closed the door twice on Sunday at a Korn Ferry Tour event this year. I think he's worth a look. Pat also texted in. He likes Davis Reilly as well. My boy Tim Gaiman, Nut Hut member, Tim was all about Sean O'Haire last week and nailed it. I mean, Sean O'Haire, I was shocked, but Sean O'Haire finished 14th at Corrales. He has a horrible record here, but I don't know what it is, but he saw something. So he does hit it, hits it a decent long way. Putt's okay. 6,500. I don't think I'll have him, but Tim Gaiman would probably be like, hey, you need to play this dude. I like Nick Watney as a low priced, decent floor, make a cut kind of guy. He checks a lot of boxes, ball striking wise, and actually puts better on Bermuda than any other surface for a West Coast guy. That's kind of crazy for Watney. And then if you want to go really low, I talked him up last week. I can't remember where I talked him up. If it was on the show and or the Nut Hut. I don't know where it was. But he had a good week, and that's Martin Laird. I think he's $6,100. Where's Martin Laird? I mean, that's like very, 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 very cheap. Where is Laird? Party Marty, I think, is what our boy Pat Mayo calls him. Yeah, $6,100. He's only made 1 cut here out of 4 tries, but it was a T7. Oh no, he didn't play that great. He finished 65th. I don't know what that was about. Anyway, why did I think he played? Well, I guess I was just thrilled to death he made the cut. So, all right. So yeah, Martin Laird is a decent little play if you want to go super cheap at 6,500. You could play him. Oh, guess what? Pat is arriving back into the old podcast here. Pat, are you there? Are you with us?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Fantastic. Okay.
Wow, the old internet.
The old internet. Fantastic. You make fun of me living in the country, but my internet's reliable.
Anyway, where were you?
I'm done. We're done with the 6K range. We're moving on. I gave the people your picks. A lot of people snickered. A lot of people said you were crazy. But I told him no. Pat is not crazy. Great man. He's a good guy. He's very smart. And
I have a feeling that is not at all how it went. I feel like probably 90% of my picks you hated.
No.
Was there? All right. So you have the text. I texted you the picks. Was there one single pick that I had that you liked?
Yes, I love your Mississippi boy Davis Reilly pick. Love that pick. So yeah, I've talked at length about Davis Reilly. Yes.
Okay. At least
let me look at the others. I didn't mind your Sepp Straka or your Cam Percy pick actually.
I bet you hated Chesson Hadley.
I didn't like the Chesson Hadley. I don't like the price. Like, why is Chesson Hadley 7.8 like Cam Percy? I would rather have Cam Percy. Like right now, head to head, you give me Cam Percy even money versus Chesson Hadley. I'll take Cam Percy.
Who was your fade in the 7K range?
Snedeker.
Okay, so not Rafa. I thought maybe you might.
No, but
agree
I don't mind that fade.
And I like Sink and Cash at 7,600. The he hit a 330-yard drive. Sink hit a 330-yard drive. Play him in Cash.
Well, he's like 7 feet tall, so you get a big swing arc. You know what I mean? So
anyway,
that.
Anyway, I guess let's move on.
Let's move on to betting. Let's talk a little bit about the betting portion of the show. Let's look at some numbers, man. I'm looking at PointsBet. I'm looking at DraftKings. I wonder if they've changed a little bit. Let me refresh here.
I've seen right off the bat, PointsBet. I think DraftKings has a few guys at some better odds than
which is weird. Like last week, it was opposite. They're kind of going back and forth here.
But I'll say, like, if we're going up top, like, guys that are, shorter end, I do like Sam Burns on DraftKings. He's at 28-1. He's at 25-1 on PointsBet. But I like Sam Burns.
Burns was 35-1 a few hours ago on DraftKings. So the line is shortening. If you want to grab him, I think you grab him. And he would have been the shortest one I would have looked at for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like him. We talked about Fratelli on the show as far as the DFS pick. I like him at 45-1 on the DraftKings Sportsbook. I think that's a pretty good number.
I didn't see that coming. I don't know that I like Fratelli in the outright market. I talked about him in DFS, but I kind of like him I do like him in DFS, and I know he's expensive. So I think he has top 10 upside, and I know he's won a PGA Tour event, but I don't know. For some reason, I don't feel like he's a winner. You know what I mean?
I mean, well, he's won on tour. But...
I know he has. I just said that, like, he's won, but in my mind, I don't really picture him as a winner for some reason. So I have a hard time pulling the trigger on him as an outright.
Okay, well, another guy that I will say on PointsBet has actually a little bit better odds than he does on DK Sportsbook that we have not talked about at all is or unless you did while I was out for the last 20 or so minutes, is Richie Werenski. He is 80-1 on PointsBet and 75-1 on DraftKings. I think he's going to be a good play.
I don't like that.
Why not? Long off the tee, has shown some good form this year.
I think it was kind of a flash in the pan, honestly.
No way. He's not a flash in the pan.
Yeah, I think it is.
You can't think that way. I'm telling you, you can't think that way. That is not a way that David Barnett should think going forward. No. You tell me what I should think sometimes. I'm telling you right now, you can't think that Richie Werenski is a flash in the pan. I'm telling you that right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, he finished third, then he missed the cut, then he went 68, then he finished 20th, then he missed the cut again. I don't know. I don't think he's that great.
I think so.
Especially at that number. Like 150-1. If you'd have said before this, you said, "Hey, what number is Richie Werenski at?" I'd been like, "Oh, 150-1."
No way you would have said that.
Yeah, I mean, I would
rather
compared
him to like Bronson Burgoon, who's at 150-1.
Okay, okay, here you go. You're
Bo Hostler.
Name those guys, but okay. I would rather have Keith Mitchell at 175-1, Tyler McCumber at 175-1, JB Holmes at 175-1, Patton Kazire at 150-1, Nick Taylor at 125-1. All those guys that are longer than him.
What has Patton Kazire done? He's like playing in member guest right now. He's not playing on tour.
No, he's not. He finished 41st last week at the Corrales, which isn't great, but he's a great putter. Great Bermuda guy. Werenski's not a Bermuda guy. Is he? Isn't he like a where's he from? I can't remember. Anyway. That's way too long about Richie Werenski. All right. I like. Let me see if the lines have moved on this. All right, I love me some Siwoo Kim, and we didn't mention Luke List, but I'll take the outright on List and Siwoo at 55-1 on DraftKings. I like both those numbers. Those are your better numbers. List is 50-1, and Siwoo is 50-1 on PointsBet. So on DK, I'll take both of those. I like the win equity out of both. Luke just needs a hot putter. If just 1 week he could get a hot putter, which is a lot to ask because his putter is shite, but just 1 week and he would win. He's tee to green. He's amazing. Charlie Hoffman, 70-1. I mentioned him in DFS. I like Hoffman 70-1 on DraftKings. I like
Didn't you like
Xinju
him last
Zhang.
week?
Huh?
Didn't you like
What?
Hoffman last week?
I did. Yeah, I did. Played
Top
okay.
15.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like
I like
Zhang.
Zhang too.
Liked him last week. He's 70-1 on DraftKings. Nick Taylor, I like him at 125-1. Don't forget he's won this tournament before. He won at Pebble Beach this year. I'm pretty sure that was this year. It feels like forever ago. Maybe it wasn't. Can't remember. But he's 125-1 on DraftKings. I said length was not a requirement, or not a prerequisite. Yeah. So he's not a super long hitter, but he knows his way around the Sanderson, and he's played here very, very well. The old Canadian Nick Taylor, 125-1 is a nice number. Okay, as bad as this guy is on Bermuda, you cannot tell me the win equity is not there with JB Holmes at 175-1. 175-1. He is he's a POA guy for sure. People hate him because he's slow. Yep, I get it. But he's a bomber. He can get hot. He's a proven PGA Tour winner at 175-1 in a garbage field. He's right there with like David Hearn and KH Lee. I just think that is too long for JB Holmes. And are you proud of me that I haven't said Will Gordon's name yet tonight?
I thought you were going to say
Burn
Will
me
Gordon.
so bad. I am so hurt by Will Gordon. I want him to be a thing so bad. There is not another player on the PGA Tour that I want to be a thing like Will Gordon right now. There's just not. I love him. I want him to work, but he has burned me weeks in a row, and I'm done right now. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention Cam Davis. Oh, my God, what are we doing? Is this even a show if we're not mentioning Cam Davis at 66-1? See, the fact that his line hasn't moved, but Sam Burns' line has moved is crazy to me. I think you got to bet Cam Davis. That is going to be shorter. Yeah, that's going to be shorter. Another one I want to talk about. You were having internet problems when this happened. I told this story, and I think this is key for people that maybe just watched the sports book segment on YouTube. And I'll make this quick. I talked to 2 Korn Ferry Tour players in the last 10 days. 2 players on the Korn Ferry Tour. And I said, who's better, Will Zalatoris or Davis Reilly? Both of them said Davis Reilly. This is in the last 10 days. Both of them. Even with all of Will's recent success, the U.S. Open and all that, they both said Davis Reilly. Let's just say, worst case scenario, they're wrong, even though they watch these 2 guys play every week, and Will is slightly better than Davis Reilly. Davis Reilly is 175-1. Will Zalatoris is 22-1 to win this golf tournament. We talked about this at the top of the show. This is a tournament where typically in a normal year, you have Korn Ferry Tour graduates come out, and this is one of the first events they play, and plenty of them compete and win. Like, the fact that Reilly is 175-1 and Zalatoris is 22-1, and I just talked to 2 of their peers that watch them play and know what it takes to compete at that level, and they both said they would take Davis Reilly over Will Zalatoris. I think, Zalatoris has come closer, and that experience may help him close the door on a PGA Tour victory sooner than Davis Reilly at some point. But at some point, we're going to see things level out, I think, with these 2. So just in case Reilly pops off, I think throwing a little bit of jingle jangle on Mr. Davis Reilly is not a bad move. And in his home state of Mississippi might be a great idea at 175-1.
I don't mind it at all. I like that play.
I mean, you can even, maybe the win equity isn't a thing, but he's 16-1 as a top 10. Maybe you look at him at a top 10. Any other bets for you? Outrights?
No, I think that's about it.
I do. Let's see.
I probably will have some in the. We get asked a good bit in the Nut Hut on Wednesday about some of our first round leader bets and some of our some guys that we've come on later in the week. Another reason to join the Nut Hut. because we come up with some of those. And Swafford was probably one I may have mentioned as first round leader. But anyway, so we get asked a good bit in the Nut Hut about some of those type bets. So I'll probably have some of those on Wednesday night. But right now, that is all I got. And it gives us a little more time to see the line movement and to see these different books and what they're doing and things like that. And because there could be some major differences on some guys, between the books. So you want to be able to look at that and have a chance to pay attention to that.
And while I'm looking at it, Davis Reilly is 7-1 in the top 20 market on DraftKings. I have two other top 20s that I like. If I'm going to do a top 20, it's going to be I can't bet it if it's not a double-digit number. I can't do it. So I'll go Sebastian Kaplan at 12-1, who, if you were paying attention, Seabass played pretty well last week at Corrales. And, we know Seabass and his agent. And we had heard a couple months ago probably that he was struggling a little bit mentally. He went home to Denmark to kind of go back to his old coach to kind of reset a little bit. Because when he first came out on tour, he was pretty solid. He contended. He had some good finishes, and then he just kind of like lost it for a minute. So his first event back, he plays pretty well last week. I'm pretty sure. Well, maybe he may have played the safe way. I'm not looking at it, but played well last week. And he's a scorer. He's a long player, long hitter, aggressive player, and can compete in Birdie Fest. 12-1 for a top 20 bet, I think is interesting. And then a name that I mentioned in the DFS portion that I just think is a solid guy all around. He's not really flashy, but he's been on the PGA Tour for freaking forever, and he could pop up with a top 20 in a Birdie Fest, and that's Martin Laird at 10-1. So top 20 market for me, that's it. I think that's all I got, dude.
Okay.
Good stuff. Listen, let's keep the heater going. Check out DB's Big Balls betting card. You got Pat's Fantasy Golf Sommelier article coming. The 10 key stats that you need to know are already up on tourjunkies.com. All the write-ups are free on tourjunkies.com. Check them out. They'll hit on Tuesday and Wednesday. We'd love for you to join us in the Nut Hut. If you're not already a member, it's $10 a month. Super easy. We're not the only people in there that give advice. We've got some really sharp listeners that are very engaged, that are in there all the time. We'll have our live chat on Wednesday night in the Nut Hut, probably around 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Chalk Bomb Ben is back, and the Chalk Bomb email is back this week, so check your inbox for that. Subscribe if you haven't already over on tourjunkies.com, bottom right-hand corner of any page. You can do that. And let's keep the train rolling, man. The Hudson Swafford week has invigorated me for the fall swing. And I am jazzed. I am jazzed in my middle parts right now.
I kind of am too.
Yeah.
I guess.
Good.
It's sort of weird.
Yeah.
Said. But still.
Fantastic. All right. Well, let's head over to do TJ After Dark over on DraftKings YouTube channel. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for supporting the Tour Junkies despite it being football season. We know it's tough. We hear it all the time. Hey guys, love you, but I'll see you in January. It's February. It's football season. Okay, we get it. If that's not you, we appreciate it. You're the diehards that we love, the golf addicts. That's what it's about. Thank you guys. May your screens be green. Have a great week. See you. Oh!